Hello all. Hello all. Today, hope you all are doing good. Sorry. So today we are entering into section 11 and section 12 of Specific Relief Act 1963. Before going into section 11 and section 12, we have previously discussed about section 9 and section 10 of Specific Performance Act. So sorry, Specific Performance of Contracts, where now we are entering into section 11, where section 11 deals with cases in which specific performance of a contract related to trusts. Okay, see, every contract which is proved in court of law should be enforced according to section 10, which we have studied in the last video. There we have discussed, after the amendment of 2018, the thing may has been substituted with a word shall. From then, any contract which is proved under the court of law should be enforced. Okay, and there is no substituted remedies for that, like compensation of damages and all, except as otherwise. What section 10 says is it shall be enforced, but except subsection 2 of section 11, which we are discussing now, and section 14 and section 16, except the things mentioned in this, except the provisions which are mentioned in this section, section 14, section 16, and subsection 2 of section 11. Except these three, any contract which is proved under court of law, it should be enforced. So now we are discussing about the trust contracts entered into by trust. Is it enforceable or not? It is enforceable, but subsection 2 says that if a trustee who excess of his powers has made a contract, it cannot be enforced. He is accessing his powers, then the contract which he had entered would not be enforced. Okay, so this you have to keep in mind. Only if a trustee in excess of his powers entered into a contract, then it won't be enforced. Otherwise, any contract which entered by the trust is and should be enforced if it is proved. Okay, now the most important section and the most difficult section is section 12. So we are going into section 12, where the section 12 discusses about the topic related to specific performance of a part of contract. Okay, so part of contract, specific performance of a part of contract. While we are entering into the section, section 1 only says that except as otherwise hereafter. So this section is somewhat difficult, so I will read the act, and I will say the explanation. Okay, it is just not to miss any important point or something. Okay, so except as otherwise hereafter provided in this section, the court shall not direct the specific performance of a part of contract. See, courts will not accept for a part performance of a contract. Okay, but unless except the provisions mentioned here. So section 1 says except as otherwise hereafter provided in this section, hereafter provided. So if we take this first section, second, third and fourth, these three sections, what except these three sections, what they are saying, except these three subsections, what they are saying, anything will be not accepted by the court for part performance. Okay, but according to these three subsections, it will be accepted for a part performance of a contract. So what section 2 says, we will see, where a party to a contract is unable to perform the whole of his part of it, but the party which must be left unperformed by only a small portion of the whole in value and admits of compensation in money, the court may, at the suit of either party, direct the specific performance of the so much of the contract as can be performed, and award compensation in money in beneficence to the beneficiaries. See, the court, first of all, the court will not accept the part performance, but according to section 2, section 3 and section 4 of the subsection 2, section 3, subsection 4 of section 12, it will accept for part performance when See, for suppose what subsection 2 example, see, if A and B are there and both have entered into a contract, so contract B have to manufacture 500 bags and he has to give to A. So if B can manage to make 475 bags, okay, and partly like 25 bags he is unable to perform the contract and he made a breach for 25 bags only. So the court says he can the at the option of A he can take this 475 bags. I mean most of the part is completed, only the small portion of the part is left. So he can take for 25 bags, he can claim compensation from the B, and the B should be ready to give the compensation back to for these 25 bags, and the 475 bags the contract will be enforced. Okay, so by this way the A can claim both. So he can take the part of the contract and he can take compensation for the other left small portion of contract which is left behind. This 25 bags wala he can take as compensation. Okay, so now we will discuss first section 4 subsection 4 and later on we will move to section 3. Okay, and so what section 4 says is, suppose there are two parties who are drafting a contract. There are two footings, for one is for the P land, one is for the Q land. Okay, so in the same contract they are writing about the two different properties. Okay, so if the transferor A says I can perform P land, I can give the title of the P land to the transferee, but Q land I cannot I cannot out to be perform the Q land. So if in this situation, if they are under two footings, it is separately mentioned in the contract itself. So if he can do one portion of the, so if he can perform for one portion of the contract, then it will be accepted. See, it will be elaborated in section, I will read. When a part of the contract which takes by itself can and ought to be specifically performed stands on a separate and independent footing. When the part of the contract stands on a separate and independent of footing, so both are separate and independent footing, so both parts are separate and independent footing, and he can perform one part, so the court will accept to perform one part and to leave the another part, and he can claim compensation for the remaining part. You understood? Okay, this is what meant by section subsection 4. Okay, now we are entering into subsection 3, which is somewhat difficult to elaborate also. When where a party to a contract is unable to perform the whole of his part of it, and the part which must be left unperformed either forms a considerable part of the whole. See, according to subsection 2, what we have learnt is, if the portion is small part of the contract, okay, according to bags concept. Now here, according to 500 bags, the B can only deliver 25 bags, exactly opposite, but he cannot perform for 475 bags. So there is considerable part of a whole. Okay, in this case what the remedy will be? So in 3 subsection A, through admitting compensation in money, means B accept for compensation in money or does not admit to compensation in money if B cannot give the compensation of money. So in either of the case, he is not entitled to obtain a decree for specific performance. He is not entitled to get a decree for specific performance, but the court may, at the suit of the other party, direct the party in default, directs B to perform specifically so much of his part in the contract he can perform. So you perform 25 bags, you can make, you make the 25 bags. Okay, if the other party, in case falling under A, clause A, which we have discussed, through admitting compensation in money, B admits to give compensation in money. If B admits to give compensation in money, if A already paid amount for 500 bags, he can take back as compensation for 475 bags, and he must make his contract perform for 25 bags. He must give the money to B. Okay, this is one. And if B and in the second thing, it does not admit to compensation of money if B the consideration of the whole of the part without any abatement. Okay, in either case relinquishes all claims to the performance of the remaining part of the contract and all rights to compensation either from the deficiency or the loss. So in either case, A can get compensation from B, which is the part not performed. Okay, if the part of the contract is not performed, then he can claim compensation from B. If B says he can't do compensation also, he can claim, and he can claim for damages. Okay, but if the part performing is like 25 bags, if he makes, he should give the he should give the money for 25 bags, and rest of the thing for 475 bags he can claim damages and he can claim compensation for that. Okay, this is what subsection 3 says of section 12. So according to section 12 of specific performance of part performance of contract, the courts will not enforce, will not mention part performance of a contract, but except the sections which are mentioned, subsections which are mentioned 2, 3 and 4 in section 12, except in these subsections the court will perform. I mean, in this section, the court will perform part performance. Except this, the court will not permit part performance. So this is what section 11 and section 12 of specific relief act. Thank you.